Cool.
So what's up everyone, Devin here with Make Anything, and I got this awesome 12-string guitar as a gift for my birthday back in September, and I absolutely love it. It sounds so full and amazing. There's just one little problem, and that's when I try to use a capo to change the tuning of the strings, well, it doesn't press down all the strings all the way. So you end up with really ugly sounding strings, and that's no good.
So basically, the problem here is that the strings are in pairs, and there's a thick string next to a really thin string. So the thick string gets pushed all the way down, but that leaves the thin string not being pushed all the way down.
So that's a bummer, but I'm thinking I might be able to fix it with 3D printing. So what I'm going to try to do is basically just create a little attachment for this capo that has some steps on it so that it presses all the strings down completely. And I'll be using a flexible filament, so that should help as well.
The first thing I did was use my calipers to measure the width of the neck of the guitar, and I was gonna just measure out all the strings, but instead I decided to just use a reference photo. So I took a photo from directly above and brought that into Illustrator. I dimmed that image, and then on a new layer I made a line that matches the measurement I took from the neck of the guitar. So now I can use that line and scale my image in reference to that line to have my image match the scale of the actual guitar. So I'll just keep shrinking the image and aligning it to that measurement, and I want it to match where I measured, which is halfway on the 4th fret. So once I've got the image at the right size, I can use paths to create a reference that I can use in SolidWorks. So I just use a bunch of boxes to create references for where all the strings are, and then I can select my drawing and export that as a DXF so that I can bring it into SolidWorks. Then I can use those paths to basically mock up what the strings look like. So first I'll select all of the thin strings, since those are about the same height, and I'll extrude those to 3mm. Then I'll go ahead and extrude the thicker strings as well, and make those a little bit higher. And I'm just trying to estimate the differences in height between the strings, so that I can compensate that with my little print. So once I have my mock-up strings, I'll do another sketch for the actual part I want to make. And basically I'm just creating steps now that go up and down with the strings. I'll offset these lines all by 1mm in relation to the strings that they're going to be pressing down, so that they would theoretically press all the strings down by the same amount. Once I've got that all dimensioned, I'll extrude it to the same width as my capo, which is about 9mm, and I'll go ahead and change the color of that so that I know it's not merged. Then I'll just go ahead and give each corner a fillet, and I'm ready to export my STL and get it printed.
Alright, so for my first attempt at this capo, I'm going to be using this sweet lime green Ninja Flex. And Ninja Flex is pretty much the most flexible filament that I've found that works on this printer. So I think it'll be a good choice for this print.
So I found the secret of printing with Ninja Flex to be just print really slow. So I'm printing this at 15% of the normal speed that I use. And I'm also printing at 230 degrees Celsius.
Alright, so here's my first attempt, and it does look like I might have made the steps a little bit too high, but let's bring this over to the guitar and just see how it works. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and line this up. And it does seem to line up really well. And this is just a test. If it works, I guess I can glue it down. So the good news is that the little strings do work now, and it's the big strings that don't work, which means I just have to find the middle ground, and this could actually work.
So I just need to quickly go back into my SolidWorks model, and I'll adjust the height of my reference strings, which automatically adjusts my part. So I just reduce all those heights by a little bit, and then export another STL, and print it once more.
Alright, so I printed out my second version, that one on the bottom, and you might be able to tell it's a little bit shorter. So let's see how that one works. I'm just gonna do the same thing. Let's see. Oh! It works! Let's try moving it up. You do have to align it since it does have these different steps, but once it's aligned, it works. So, yeah, problem solved. And it took a little tiny print like that. So I guess at this point I can just glue this part onto the capo, and now I have a 12-string capo. That was awesome. I am so happy this worked, and it was super easy because of 3D printing. I'll say it every time, 3D printing is amazing. Alright guys, well obviously now I'm gonna be playing this thing a whole bunch, so I'm done filming. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you're enjoying these episodes. I'm Devin, this is Make Anything. Stay inspired.